Yes, good morning, everybody from the Netherlands, and good afternoon from Bali. I have a beautiful woman and human beings as well, very beautiful, with me today. And we have an interesting topic, information. How do we deal with information overload, ADD, and much more? Um, Véronique is originally from France. Bonjour, Véronique, ça va?
Bonjour Catalina, ça va, merci.
So Veronique moved to Asia nearly 27 years ago, and after over 16 years in the financial industry in France, hello sister, also here, and Hong Kong, Veronique decided to focus on growing people rather than growing portfolios. And she's passionate about supporting people and companies to achieve their highest potential and has been focusing on doing that for the past 15 years as a trainer, coach, and consultant. And she's fascinated about what makes people tick and how to get people to action so they bridge the gap between where they are and where they want to be. And her passion is empowering people to be, to do, and live their very best lives. Right now, she spends a lot of time helping people move through rough patches. And she has developed a rapid release and reset technique, which helps people to let go of trauma, of anxiety, and old stories using a number of tools she acquired through years, including Neuro Linguistic Programming, Neuro Associative Conditioning, Emotional Freedom Technique, Matrix Reimprinting, and Theta Healing. And she has also been involved with Robbins Research International since 2002 as a volunteer, trainer, and coach, supporting participants through live events and after the events. Thank you, Veronique, for joining us.
Thank you
And
for having me.
before we start into our topic of today, the tradition is that we center and today I propose the mantra on the out breath, I am courage. So I always meditate in the morning and I say just uh, open to receive what quality do I want to embody. So I want to um, propose for us today, I am courage. So 3 deep breaths, and on the out breath in your mind, you say, I'm courage, and that's it. We're going to rock and roll. So, so let's start it. Information, a lot of information coming from front, from back, from left, from right, from above, from everywhere.
Yeah,
How do we deal
yeah,
with that?
it's a really good question. So let me share a little bit what's going on around here. Of course, I'm in Bali, right? So I'm very
Yeah,
blessed.
one of
See,
my
I'm blessed.
favorite places. Yeah, you are
Yes,
very blessed.
as soon as you can, you need to come back here.
Yes.
Uh, and um, and I haven't had a television set for over 5 years. So I
Yeah.
have not watched the news in over 5 years. As it is, we did purchase a television not so long ago, but it's not hooked to anything. However,
Mm.
we have the internet, poor as it is, and we'll keep our fingers and toes crossed that it stays on, and we don't have too many breaks in this transmission. And as you said, I was in finance, and in finance, keeping abreast with the news and keeping tab of what's going on is literally an occupational hazard.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, yeah, and that's part of what burned me out was you can never know too much. You can never know enough to be sure that you do your job properly. And a couple of years ago, I started working with this group, and we help people with investments, specifically in properties in the US. And of course, this started happening, and I'm the one with the longest experience and the financial experience and the experience in looking at what's going on in the market, the economy, and everything. And I started educating them as well. So I started very simply. There's this amazing video that I prescribe to everyone by Ray Dalio that says how the economy works. I don't know if
Yeah.
you've ever seen that, but it's
Yes.
really
Yes.
brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
And I started there, and then I went down the rabbit hole. Literally,
Okay.
it's like one video to another, things that you need to know. Oh yes, but I need to know about that part
That's
too. And
interesting. Oh yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
exactly. And
Mm-hmm.
you end up like me. I have, and it's better.
How many screens you have open?
And that's exactly what that's what I'm counting, right? I've got 25 screens open right now. And I would
Mm-hmm.
say I probably have 50 windows open total. Some
Yeah.
of it is personal. So we'll talk about that a little bit later, but I have some personal windows open. I have my Facebook open in about 3 different places because you need that, right? And then YouTube, and then all the news channel and everything. And the biggest reason at the moment where those things are open is because I'm sharing them one at a time, because I don't want to dump everything on the people that I work with,
Yes.
because their poor brains won't cope. The problem is it's in my brain and it's in my computer.
Okay.
And I don't know about yours, but when I do that to my computer, what does it do? Yep,
It's frozen.
it's frozen.
Freezes. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
I get the multicolor wheel of death,
Yes.
right? And
Yes.
I get to start again. And that actually led me.
Rebooting. Hmm.
Yes, but this is the thing. Am I rebooting in between? And that was the question I asked myself a couple of days
Yes.
ago, where I realized that I was exhausted. I hadn't been sleeping enough. I still don't, but I feel better. And I actually took a nap yesterday in the middle of the day. So
Yes.
it's like, whoa, self-care, yay, right? That I was exhausted, that I was giving my energy away to all this because I felt like I needed the information. The problem with that is then the information is right here in front of your face, and you do not step back into reflection.
Yes.
Right. You're completely into just the information phase, receiving. There's no analysis going on. So it's death by information, right? And at the same time, it creates this funny thing that I call analysis paralysis.
Mm-hmm.
Because I actually have too many pieces to think about to actually analyze in a clean way.
Yeah. And here's the thing. Now with having the necessity, if you want, or opportunity to do business only online, again, it's a we reinforce the same pattern that we had before, but in a different way.
Yes, and definitely for me, I've always known that I had ADD, and this made my ADD much worse. Right? Everybody knows screens are not the best anyway, and these days, as you say, we're in front of screens all the time. I used to joke at my 15-year-old that his eyes are going to be rectangular, but I'm no better.
No. And let me ask you a question. Do you track the quality of your sleep? Because I
Yes,
do, and I want. And how is the quality of your sleep, by the way? Do you
it's
see
not
any patterns?
it's not ideal. Yes, I definitely have gone to a pattern. I've been home nonstop for a month and a half now, and I've definitely seen the pattern. And I started sleeping later and later as well, which
Yeah.
for me is easy. I kind of like I'm a night owl, but it's making the decision. It's when I realized what I was doing. It's like, oh, hold on, and I'm a coach. I teach people what to do, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And
Put
there is a
put the
change in the
bloody oxygen mask on
yeah.
you
Yeah. Yeah.
first.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
There is a big change in the circadian rhythm. I look at
Yeah.
my Fitbit report every day. I notice that my REM sleep, it's shorter. So the quality of my sleep is different. It's
Yeah.
it's still good-ish, but went down.
But not
So to
ideal.
me, I've started to ask myself, okay, and I'm very conscious about how much time I spend on the screen. As a matter of fact, Facebook is minimum, so it's like I'm doing this, and then I have a couple of groups that are very important to me, and that the rest is not. But still, the very fact I have my Kindle, which is on my iPad, so I read on the Kindle more. And I see this
Yeah.
also influences the quality of my sleep. So I've started to look into that much more.
With the Kindle, that's interesting you say that. I actually own a real Kindle, Paperwhite, not something that is backlit,
Yeah,
because I realized I've had my eyes operated on and everything, and I realized that it was really attacking the quality of my eyesight.
yeah,
And so that's one thing that I'm quite militant about. And books, I actually love paper books. It's just
yeah,
difficult to travel with.
yeah.
But yeah,
Same.
absolutely. And being disciplined about it. I found myself, the first thing I would do in the morning is look at the news,
Yeah,
right? So I grab my phone right here. I'll grab my phone and I look at the news. And yes, it's useful up to a point, but is it the right way to start the day?
not
So
for me.
it's not for me either, and I know it, right? But the thing
You,
that you
I
know,
kind of pass the except for my kids, and I'm not very successful when I need to tell my kids what to do. I'm very successful when I ask questions, but I pass the thing to tell people what it's good for them. 'Cause what do I know? I know
yeah,
what's good for me, what it's general, guideline principle. But yeah,
yeah, exactly, exactly. But it got to a stage, as we said, that my energy was being. It's. I love movies and stuff, and I have this vision of my energy being sucked out by the
yeah,
screen. Right?
yes,
It's like
yeah,
you could see kind of your soul disappearing in the screen. So I really had to discipline myself and to say, okay,
yeah,
stop. What do
yeah,
I need to know?
yeah,
How am I going to use it? What's the meaning of it? And yes, I have those windows, but after the last time my computer crashed, the windows are there for information. They're actually not loaded,
yeah,
right? So they're
yeah,
here. So I can still access the link if I need to, but I
yeah.
started creating more disciplines because it was just sucking my energy out. And the
Absolutely.
other thing that we all say we do or we want to do and everything is, what do you do the first thing when you open your eyes? Right. First thing, I'm guessing you breathe and you meditate. I am not the best meditator, but I have found ways that I can settle my mind, that I can feel more grounded, more present. And the
Good.
biggest one for me is gratitude. So usually, I open my eyes. This morning, I was like, I swear I dreamt an entire movie through the night. So I wasn't feeling
Ooh.
particularly rested. No, and it was like kind of horrible. All I remember, of course, is the feeling of it, right? But it's like, okay, I'm grateful. My eyes are open and it's daytime.
Yeah, and I'm
I'm not
here.
dreaming anymore.
Yeah, yeah,
It
yeah,
wasn't a nightmare, but it was just a really weird dream. And so that's what I start with. It's like, what am I grateful for? And then okay, what's going on for my day? Right? I
mhm.
usually will write three goals. My three goals, and I shortened it. We actually took a decision with a group of people. We made it a 3-month goal because, of course, I'm sure you've heard this before, but none of what's going on right now was on my vision board. I don't know about you, but it wasn't on
Well,
mine.
no, no,
Right?
but we get these gifts from universe in different forms and shapes. Yeah,
Absolutely, absolutely.
yeah,
And it is. We are so blessed, right? And when I think about the gratitude, I also think we are so blessed. I'm blessed because I'm here, but we're blessed because we have roof over our heads, right? And we have the time, we have the option. We can speak to each other, and we're 20 hours
yeah,
flight away from each other. That's a
yeah,
blessing.
Yeah.
right? So this is one of the things that I really, really focused on. And then the next thing that I look at is what are my targets to do for today? And importantly, okay, what do I need to know? So I will actually literally make myself windows.
Yeah.
I will schedule. I have half an hour to find out what the news are, and that's it. Half an hour to do some research and find some useful things for people, and that's it.
Yeah.
Then I can focus on what's really important,
Mm.
right?
What? Yeah. Yeah. I go.
Yeah, go ahead.
Why do you think is this rush for even more? And let me do also this course. I mean, absolutely growing during this period is essential because we have the luxury of time,
Yes,
and be strategic about it. But
yes,
what I see many people say, "Oh, let me do this," and I'm guilty as well, because I love of learning is very high for me. So if I was not, conscious about, what's my intent and what do I want, my next steps to be, I would go and do everything.
yeah,
But I learned to used to say no to courses that are at night. That it's my circadian rhythm. It's very important.
yeah.
But let's talk. What do you think is behind this thing of, oh, let me do and this and this and this and this? Oh, not the fear of missing out. Also on the growth side, on the education side.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's part of it. What it is, I think part of it is with us in particular, with the group that we like to hang out with, right? Is there's this uh, constant search for growth, for learning, for being better, and because we use it to contribute to the world. But if we're going to burn ourselves out and literally burn the candles at both ends, and that's the candle is us, you can't help anybody, right? And I don't know if you've seen this meme on Facebook or something. It's like if you don't come out of this, if you don't come out of this quarantine with a new skill or something like that, you've wasted your time.
I haven't seen it, but yeah,
Well, you and I, we work from home a lot,
yeah,
right? I'm guessing you don't walk into an office or go into an office every day or something like that. For
yes.
me, life hasn't changed, except as there's way more to keep track of.
Mm. Well, I travel a lot for my work,
Yeah.
for
So
my
that's what we're
private
not
work,
doing.
and
I'm
also
the same. Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. And I traveled a lot for work as well. That's why I got home on the 14th of March. I've been literally away from home for an entire month.
yeah, yeah,
Right. So
yeah,
it's okay, I want to make the best out of this time, but at the same time, you and I we're still working. So it's really about creating that self discipline because there's so much available. I don't know. You say you don't go on Facebook so much, but when I scroll through Facebook, one post out of two is a live, and those lives go on for a long time. Usually, when I do a live, I stick to, I think the maximum I can do is 10 minutes because that's the equivalent, that's the length of my current span,
yeah.
right?
Mm,
When I'm talking with someone, like I'm talking to you, it's very different. But I have ADD, and
yeah,
it's just like too many shiny objects going on,
yeah.
right?
So
And there's
that's
so
the
much
thing.
wisdom.
Yeah. So one of the things, the drivers behind just this need to learn and develop, is love of learning, but it can be also something
Fear.
else.
It's fear.
So let's get into this a bit.
Yes, it's fear and anxiety. Some of it is, I need to know everything there is. Some of it is, well, my job may never be there again. People are starting to talk about what the new normal is going to be, right? There are people that are not ever going to see the same job.
Hmm.
We with Tony Robbins, are we going to be able to ever have the same kind of events as what we had last year with 10,000 people in them? We don't know,
Mm.
right?
We
So
know
there's always
nothing
this
anyway,
question. Yeah,
so
exactly.
hopefully it will
We,
be.
yeah, everybody has an opinion about what is going on and what is going on in the world, and opinions are like everything else. Everybody's got one, maybe
Yeah,
two,
yeah,
right? And but the fear means people think, okay, I gotta acquire this new knowledge. I need to learn how to code. I need to learn how to do a website, or I need to have my own website now so I can be online as well, right? I need a side hustle. Oh God, I hate that word hustle.
Mm-hmm. It's
I
very
feel the
fashionable.
stress.
Oh my God. It's so fashionable. Oh my God. Yeah. But
Oh,
it's for everybody. Everybody
I have a whole
has an
list of
attraction for
fashionable words.
something. So it's all good.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I have a whole list of fashionable words. When I hear them,
Yeah.
I go like this, right?
But that's
But
okay.
that's the truth. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with it. Yes, it's great to have multiple streams of income.
Yeah. Yeah.
I actually completely believe in it.
So how to
How,
deal with the fear?
how do
Because
we deal with
this,
the fear?
yeah, in
First
order not
question.
to burn out.
Yes. First question is, what's the worst that can happen?
Mm-hmm.
Right? And give yourself some whatever time, 5 minutes, to imagine, okay, what's the worst that can happen?
Yeah.
Write it down. And once you know what's the worst that can happen, ask yourself, have I been in a similar situation?
Mm-hmm.
Right? What did I do? What would I do? What would I tell my friend Catalina if she was in this situation?
Mm-hmm.
Because we have so much untapped wisdom.
Yeah.
Um, it's like we're stuck like this, right? We don't see
Mm-hmm.
anything else. But
Yeah.
when you start thinking, what would I tell somebody else?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, suddenly we can see what's behind her,
Yeah.
right? Or what's in front of her, but she's not seeing it.
Right.
So that's the first thing. The other
So
thing is,
high mileage questions.
yes,
Okay. Number two.
yeah. The other thing that I use a lot, and I use it for myself all the time, is I tap. I'm a big
Yes.
believer in tapping.
Me
Uh,
too.
so are you? Yes. I use EFT all the time.
Yeah.
When I learned EFT, my teacher, who's a friend of mine, always used to say to me, I was telling her my problem or what was going on and everything. And her first question was always, have you tapped on it?
Here you go.
And it really annoyed me because it was always her first question, right? Except that I
Mm-hmm.
find I do the same thing now. I always
Yeah.
say, have you tapped on it? And if you haven't, let's tap on it together,
Yeah.
right?
So
Because,
this is under the umbrella that there are different routes to destination, and
yes,
then you can work, with questions and taking that path. You can take the path of tapping as well because it activates different parts of the brain and calms down the nervous system.
yes.
Go ahead.
Or you could do them together as well. It's like, even though this is the worst that could
Okay.
happen,
Yes.
you can stack them, right? You can even, for some people that are not real writers, but they can visualize. Excuse me. I haven't spoken this much in a while. I'll
Mm.
tell them to close their eyes and literally visualize what can happen and start tapping at the same time.
Oh,
So it's like what we call the movie technique,
yes.
right? The other thing with tap,
Just go for a few seconds and tell
yes,
about the movie technique, 'cause
all
that
right.
might be useful for some people.
Yeah, absolutely. And so we can do it with things in the past, but you can also do it with things in the future. So, just thinking about, okay, this is the worst that could happen, and I want to see the picture, right? For a minute. And you really need to use your phone or use something that will literally count how long it's going to be, either a minute or five. That's it, 5 minutes maximum, right? And it's really tapping through it. So if I'm visualizing what could the worst that could happen, well, I could lose the home and my son and I could be homeless and I wouldn't have any money to feed him,
Hmm.
right? And we would be stuck in a foreign
And
country,
then you do it here, where we
right?
have the
And
bra. Yeah,
yes,
yeah,
exactly. And I'm tapping. So I usually start with the top, right?
yeah. And I
And
do it
then
because it's just so calmed me down.
in a corner of the eyebrow and corner of the eye. And you could speak out loud the scenario. You could just be viewing it under the nose and then under the mouth. These are really simple. Under the collarbone in that little hollow, this is one of my favorite spots, and I will use that a lot. Even
And it's
when,
good for anxiety. Very good.
exactly. So when I'm
Hmm.
speaking with someone that's getting like this, I just say, just tap right here and
Yeah,
breathe for a minute, right? And it helps settle them. And
yeah.
so when you are doing this, you can actually go under the arms And I tap like a monkey. So that's what I say to kids, right? So do it like a monkey under the arms. And then I go to the wrist where your wrist bends usually.
Mhm.
And I like doing the hand points. Not everybody does it in tapping. So, like if you look at the tapping solution, they often
Yeah,
don't.
they're different.
But
Hmm.
I love them, and I'll remind me to tell you about sneaky EFT in a second. And where your nail starts to grow on the side that is towards you, on the upper side at the moment, because my hand
Hmm.
is like this, right?
Just
And I
move it
just do,
higher. Yeah, just move it higher, your hand,
yeah.
so that people can
So
see.
as you
Yeah,
can see, and I'm going to tap on every finger, just like this. Very simple.
there are different meridians corresponding to different
Yes,
organs on each
yes.
finger, so
I
you
kind of
you get
talk,
them all.
yeah, I kind of explain to people that it's like acupuncture without needles for emotions,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah.
And then the last
And you
one
do the
that
gamut
is very
here.
powerful is this one. So this
Yeah,
one's a little bit strange, and people ask why they have to do it. Basically, you can
yeah,
slide or you can tap, but I like to just massage because I
yeah.
don't
You can
have
do
that much
this or
coordination.
this. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And
So I'll
then
do
close
this,
your
and
eyes.
you do the just move your hands a bit up so people can see it. Awesome.
Okay, but
So
you
they
also
have
need to
different.
see the rest of me, right? So close your eyes, open your eyes. All right. Look sharp. Keep your head steady and look sharp down right. Back to the top. Sharp down left. Back to the top. Big circle one way. Big circle the other way. And then we hum. So we usually hum happy
Mm.
birthday because everybody knows that one. Just a
Mhm,
few
mhm,
notes.
mhm,
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 mhm. And then count to
mhm,
nine really
mhm,
quickly in whatever
mhm,
language.
mhm.
1, 2, 3, 4,
One,
5,
two,
6, 7, 8, 9.
yeah.
And then hum again. Mhm, mhm.
Mhm,
And you go
mhm.
back to the top of the head. And then keep going.
Go, go to the
So
process. Yeah.
usually 1 to 5 minutes will actually give you the time to go through the story long enough, and you could basically
Calm down.
do a couple of rounds,
Yeah. And
right?
this it changes your state and it helps you to reframe the whole
Yes,
situation, right?
exactly. And after that, usually when I get to here,
This
there
is what
you
happens to me. This is
go.
always happens to me. I love it. I love it. Any technique
Actually,
that brings me like this. Yeah.
yes. And yawning is great. Yawning actually
Yeah.
shows that you have a shift.
Absolutely.
So some people burp. I have a couple of clients that burp when they do that, but
It's all
yawning is
good.
the
Yeah.
most frequent one. Yes, it's all good. And then you keep tapping and you could start thinking about something positive. Like, I know how to take care of myself and my family. I know I have the resources, or I am resourceful. I'm grateful for what I have, right? All positive things. And the way I describe it in a way is that you were looking at the glass and the glass was full of, say, coffee. I love coffee.
Yeah.
But my friend Catalina is very healthy and she only drinks water. And I only have one glass. So I need to be looking at the glass, tipping the glass over, emptying it entirely, clean it. That's what the tapping does. And then I look, the glass is clean. Then I can put water for Catalina to drink. And the clean
Yeah.
water is the clean thoughts.
Yeah. Exactly. Beautiful. Beautiful. You
So,
basically clean. You don't put the bandage over the
no, you
wound
clean.
without cleaning it first, right?
And that's why
Yeah.
this is a really interesting objection that I hear is I don't want to be talking about the negative. I don't want to be talking
No,
about the negative things
we
because I
have
can
to.
make it happen. In that specific case, only when you're tapping, you can and you have to.
Yes. Yeah.
Don't know what you cleared, but you cleared something nice.
Oh, I'm so happy. Yeah. Yeah. That's a really good one. And you do also theta, theta
Theta,
healing.
theta.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's also you
Yeah.
work at
And
energy level. What do you do there?
well, at the energy level, especially when people have learned how to tap, we actually combine it very often,
Yeah.
and I'll take people on a trip. Right? I haven't done the very high level theta. I know there are some beautiful theta healer, and I'm sure there's some beautiful ones listening. But I kind of integrated it into the rapid release and reset, so people can be in a slightly altered state when they go into those feelings, and it is
Nice.
so good to write new destinies, and I
Nice.
love that.
It,
So,
awesome. So you are saying to remind you about sneaky, sneaky, sneaky.
oh, sneaky EFT, yes, absolutely. So you know those points on the fingers.
Yeah.
right? You can also massage them. You don't have to be tapping. So you could be massaging just like this,
Yeah.
right, around your fingers. And you can do that anytime. People won't even know that you're giving yourself EFT. So
Nice.
if you're in a meeting, if you're in a conversation that is triggering you for any reason, just go ahead. And they might think you have a tick, but that's about it.
Or you do it under the table. They don't have to see your
Uh-huh.
hand. Be
Exactly.
resourceful. Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. I had a student that she had to take a jury, and she actually ended up being the last called on the jury, and it was in architecture, so it was quite long for each of the students, right? So she said to me she spent 3 hours doing this while waiting to be
Whatever it
called,
works.
and it really
Oh,
worked, and she aced her exam, which was great.
awesome. So to sum up,
Yes.
dealing with information overload and with our attention span that actually for all of us it's getting more narrow or smaller. Three things to do.
Three things. The first one is figure out what needs your full attention. That's going to sound really weird, but really, what needs your full attention? When I'm having a conversation with you, you have my full attention, right? And
Yeah.
I'm looking at you on the screen, and it's not the best picture of you because internet, so hopefully everything will be okay. But figure out what needs your full attention. There are other things that don't necessarily need your full attention, and if you do that, then you end up making yourself wrong.
Yeah.
Right. So that's one of the things. And I'm going to show you something I've never shown on the internet. So, as I said, ADD, and I've had ADD for a long time. This is what I do when I'm watching things. Crochet.
Oh,
So this is my quarantine top. It's finished. Now I need a new I need new something to use to literally, because it occupies my fingers and
yeah.
enough that I can have the rest of my attention on what is going on. Because otherwise my brain wanders.
So find your own anchor. That's your anchor.
Exactly.
So
Find
everybody
your
needs to
anchor.
find their own anchor.
Some
Awesome.
people doodle,
Mm-hmm.
right? Some people play bricks. That's maybe not the ideal thing on their phone or something, right? Everybody has a couple of anchors, but you want to keep your fingers of this,
Yeah.
right? Of the mouse, because if you have access to the mouse when you're doing that. So it's really, for me, it's kind of nearly like a meditation where it's, as I said before,
You're
it's hard
fully
for me to
engaged
meditate.
in the
Right?
activity. There is no
Exactly.
self-consciousness. Yeah.
There is no extra space. If you think of your brain as a number of boxes, right? So being super visual, sometimes it's also easy for me to be more distracted. There is no extra space because I fill that space with something that is both repetitive and simple enough that I do not have to be focused on it, and I can listen 100% to what the person is saying. So that's the first thing. Concentrated time. So um, if you know that you are easily distracted after 15 minutes, give yourself 15 minutes and then say, okay, now I can have 5 minutes of other things,
Yeah.
right? Um, I'll give you an example. So I spend, unfortunately, too long on YouTube at the moment. And all my YouTube videos are on 1.5 because there is no way I can do it otherwise, right? But that 5 minutes I have, generally, I'll go to something like JP Search, right? JP, because he's funny and it just changes my focus enough that I can go back and do something else.
So what you do basically, you break your patterns,
I
right?
break my
So
patterns.
again, that
And
works for you. Yeah.
and I'm a super fan of the timer on my phone.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
Because that's how I can do that. Um, Here's my biggest tip though, and that works with a lot of things. But the first thing that a lot of us need to do is forgive ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Acknowledge it's going on and then forgive yourself for it.
Yeah.
Right? Because
Yeah.
if you get at the end of the day and it's like, oh my God, I've achieved nothing again. I am so bad, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
All we do when we do that is when we make it worse, not better.
Yeah. And give yourself a hug also. You're good. You're good. And then,
Yeah.
make some nice chemicals, neurochemicals in our body,
Yes,
right?
yes, I
Biochemicals.
agree. And acknowledging that you're doing the best
Yeah.
you can with what you have.
Right.
Right?
Awesome.
We are so conditioned to always seek. It's got to be better, right?
Yeah.
I've got to be. I've got to be you, or I've got to be this guy who's so successful and this and that, the other. And in the end, the only person we can succeed at being is you,
Yes.
me, right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
And all you can be is the best you, the
Yeah.
best version.
Thank you, Carrie. Carrie, it's thanking you, Veronique. It's a great tip. I love learning from you. Nice. And
Thank you.
Anaya, effective ways to help you grow professionally. Set yourself a schedule. When setting yourself a schedule, you are also learning how to manage your time properly. Always be on time. Accept constructive criticism. Learn new skills. Dedicate time for self improvement. Always be polite. Separate work life and personal life. Be consistent in your performance.
Yes.
Awesome. And forgive yourself and just be gentle. And circadian rhythm, very
Very
important.
big.
Sleep,
Yes.
sleep, and not be in front of. One thing that I notice, if I don't have it anymore, but I had conference calls just before going to sleep. Oh my God, the adrenaline in my body and my mind was like this. I could not fall asleep. So
Yes.
that's a no go
Yes.
for me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Awesome.
Well, this is what happened last week,
Yeah,
right? I had massive,
yeah,
well, not even fear. It was missing out
yeah,
because we had this big call that started at 3 a.m. my time,
yeah.
and I was like, I really wanted to be on this course, and there's one today, same thing. It's going to be 4 a.m. And I was like, can I do it? Well, I suppose I can. Is it the right thing for me?
Yeah. Yeah, I
Right?
fully agree. Fully agree.
Yeah. So
Oh,
I didn't.
Veronique, yeah. Thank you so much. It's
Thank
always
you.
a pleasure and very insightful. And I hope that we do it again soon.
Yeah, absolutely. With pleasure. With pleasure.
Thanks,
And
thanks.
hopefully the line was not too bad.
Was great. Was great.
Okay,
And
awesome.
you're shining, so that's perfect. Thank you,
Thank you.
everybody. Have a great day. Thanks.
Okay.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye, Veronique.